farming despite that early visit to the top lane and still has about half of Lupa's flash cooldown left to try and make a play.
Yeah, there's not the lane advantages early on for Echo Fox, but the game is still incredibly close. You can just see by the gold that there's no huge gap opening up anywhere on the map right now, and even some good Sightstone wards by Acadian to try and keep Svenskaren's least in a bit.
So bottom lane is pushing in for TSM. Toblift actually does have a 10 CS lead, so things looking good there. Can be a little tough for Rakan, especially to get through lane, and Ashe is a very oppressive push style ADC, so looking good there in the 2v2 for TSM right now. Haunter gets things pushed back in the top side. Actually already TP'd back with triple Dorans. Despite the changes, tanks are still opting for all this early game efficiency. But it looks like the lane's pushing right now, so Lupa gonna feel pretty safe.
Yeah, just to go into a bit of detail about the nerf that actually happened to the Doran's Ring. It was the unique passive that made the difference on the Doran's Ring. It no longer restores 4 mana upon killing a unit every time. So it used to be 12 mana per minion when you had 3 Doran's Rings. Now it's just 4 since it's unique. But it keeps all the other stuff. It still gives you the mana regen, the health, the ability power, and you're still going to be able to super shove the wave with the triple Doran. So at least Svenskeren opposites still work in this case.
Yep, just very efficient there. It looks like a blue buff invade is being prepared by TSM. Sven and Bifrost going to collapse the tunnels and get that vision down. Scry's Bloom stolen as Acadian does get out of the way. It's level 6, but it's a very different ultimate now, of course, on Rek'Sai. No more global pressure, but some execute potential. So Acadian has been uncharacteristically quiet so far on this Rek'Sai.
And I actually feel like both junglers have been uncharacteristically quiet, and there's a reason for that. Watching the game so far, the junglers have kind of been like ships in the night, passing each other and warding each other's jungles. So they always know where the other person is. What ended up happening about 2 minutes ago is Acadian warded the blue side of TSM's jungle. He then saw Svenskeren in that ward to get wards on the red side of the jungle. But then instead of going to the red side of the jungle after Acadian had recalled the base, Svenskeren then placed the wards on the blue side of Acadian's jungle where you see him now. And they're actually just running this cycle back over and over again, warding the jungler while he's on the other side. So they actually both always know where they are. That's how they're getting the wards down for the most part. This may be a window since there's a small gap in vision where they can dive.
3-man dive being prepped. Haunter ready with a flash and the ultimate, but Echo already going to line it up. That should be a kill. Haunter flashed out of the stun, but it's all too late. No, maybe not. Coach of the Colossus is going to keep him alive for a little while longer, but there's first blood over to Lupa.
Yeah, there we go. Basically, Acadian pulled ahead in the Sightstone game. He has the Sightstone, Svenskeren doesn't. It's not necessarily dueling, but he did out-vision him right there. There was a spot Acadian walked through where TSM hadn't recently placed with wards since they had the wards on the other side of the map. Watching the actual gank, though, could have been a little bit cleaner. They get the knock-up on him. They don't get the stun from the parallel convergence. Haunter just barely escaped that, so that delays the game. But they were so healthy with an Altered Renekton and diving in there. They have no problems making the repeat and getting the kill.
Yep, plenty to do there. Haunter blows everything and still goes down. So first blood over to Echo Fox. As Lupa actually going to catch this wave with Froggen. Looks like he shoved an extra wave in the top side. Unsurprisingly, just taking that teensy bit of farm that happens to be there near him with Lupa having to recall.
Yeah, ooh, 100 gold? Yes, please. I will take that. Meanwhile, his wave was pushed in over on the top side. And that's a situation where you're not actually hurting Froggen since he didn't shove any extra minions and the wave won't necessarily bounce back towards Pearson's turret. You never want to be the guy who takes just enough minions so that the wave pushes to the other side of the lane for your solo laner. That's how reports happen for players in solo queue.
Yeah, and looks like your read on Acadian Smite was correct. He does have a challenging Smite.
Ooh, not even killing.
But even more dueling power. That longsword could indicate Warrior as well. The good stun from Dirk's going to chunk out Froggen. Forcing the ultimate as they do trade in, but Froggen hitting back doesn't quite get the second proc on the passive.
Yeah, that's honestly just how the matchup works out between Cinder and Echo. He didn't use the ult to get back to the wave. That means every time Bjergsen presses R, Froggen presses R in return and nullifies the ult. They just trade, so then they both become wave clear with their other 3 abilities.
Yep, Froggen takes the blue buff though and goes back, so wave clear duties will be even easier to fulfill. And looks like a lane swap actually from TSM. Getting Haunter some help here in the top side. Going to try and break open this turret sooner rather than later. Froggen with no ulti looks like a gank target, but Sven just can't find an angle. Froggen playing respectfully there.
Yeah, we're going to have a turret race happening right now, though. Looks like Echo Fox have a slight lead on this one. Svenskeren taking the Rift Herald, trying to get a jump on the objective trade.
Oh, we're going to try something here, but the first turret is going to go to Echo Fox, so they'll pick up a bit of bonus gold, and they're not done pushing. They'll actually go through as Haunter recalls. Doublelift and Bifrost going to try and do the same, but it's going to be 2 versus 1. And they shouldn't be able to get any extra damage here. Echo Fox just forcing TSM to come back down to the bottom lane. Not a nice time from Bjergsen, but Froggen again just feeling pretty safe. Bjergsen, ultimate to try and all in there.
Yeah, TSM could have won that turret trade if Svenskeren would have opted to go up there, but instead he's opting for the Rift Herald. So now you have to factor in, okay, they gave up the extra 300 gold from turret first kill, and then they're also now trading Rift Herald for Ocean Drake. Since you know as soon as you see the Rift Herald fall, that's where the enemy jungler is. I don't think this is worth for TSM, so well played back.
Yeah, Haunter just going to get some vision down, does see it.
Goes the barrel. Stop it.
Maybe going to go for some sort of steal. Bifrost in the area as well, but smite down for Arcadian. He's going to give the Drake over to Echo Fox. So a flurry of trades across the map, and Echo Fox up 1,000 gold at the end of it. Yeah,
that generally makes sense. They were the ones who got the first turret, and Svenskeren, I think, didn't quite keep his priorities. The question is now, though, what do they do with the Rift Herald? Because now it needs to essentially make up for the first turret gold, as well as the Ocean Drake.
And of course, you have to do it without getting a trade that doesn't go in your favor. You don't really want to have to trade extra turrets when you're the team with the Herald. So we'll see how TSM set it up. Unfortunately, unlike maybe the information we thought when we first saw the Rift Herald, you can't just put it down and hope it takes the turret for you. It's not that good. You do have to apply some setup, and the window is pretty small before the trinket runs out. So TSM looks like they're maneuvering towards perhaps the mid lane, trying to get some damage done there, but it will be tough against Froggen, especially if anyone else comes to help out with the wave clear.
Yeah, not an easy mid lane to push in. You would expect it to be in the side lane. Hello.
Catch on the Haunter by Froggen. Haunter going to get over the wall. Froggen just making sure that he harasses Haunter for taking that control ward out of the pit. TSM very busy on the top half of the map. They actually have 3 people with Bjergsen cheating towards the top side as well. So pressure from Froggen in the mid lane is going to give him priority if something is going to eventuate. Doublelift getting this top lane push. Might even be time to get the Rift Herald going there.
Rick Fox giving the shout out to Doublelift for the pregame interview as well. Also feels good when he compliments Rick Fox's player Keith, who's a much embattled carry, but I do also think Keith has been playing much better this year, and it's interesting as well, just looking at the body language of the Echo Fox team, and Keith in particular, seems to actually take losses much harder than he did last year. I think because he has a larger stake in the team's success. Keith has actually spoken about being much more vocal on the team and actually contributing to the shot calling more than just being that carry in the bottom side. So more weight on his shoulders this split as well.
I think in general, the overall motivation for Echo Fox has looked good, and they're kind of feeling, as we can see in their play, that they are growing and maturing as a team. So always good to see that. Right now we just have a bit more farming. Teams again still trying to set up for that next little play, but Echo Fox doing a nice job keeping TSM busy, it feels like, in a lot of these side lanes. And it's not going to be that many minutes left for Svenskeren's Rift Herald. It's going to have to pop it soon, and generally when you pop the Rift Herald in a unset up position, it tends to do just about nothing.
Yeah, and with the counter-picked lanes, so to speak, for Echo Fox, I feel like TSM is having a difficulty finding an upper hand in any of these waves with which they'd want to put the Rift Herald down on. This game is kind of progressing mostly the way we expected to so far, and it is going to be more about the team play later on as Froggen goes on Bjergsen.
Nice little dive. Bjergsen with a stun, though. It's his Gate going to try and save the day. Looks for the play. Does not land the quickness W out onto Bjergsen. He burns both his summoners to get out.
Yeah, and Gate and Froggen burned no summoners on that one, so definitely a winnable trade. Speaking about how Echo Fox has kind of neutralized TSM, though, so much of this does come down to this Sightstone on the Rex side. The early ward coverage was really good. I don't necessarily think it's, in my opinion, what you want out of a Rex side. You don't want to neutralize the early game, you want to dominate the early game, but this has kept TSM from being able to make plays. Now they're trying to push down this mid lane.
Yeah, here's the full-man stack. Oh, arrow lands in front, and he's going to evaporate Svenskeren. Lands the execute. Now turret still under siege. Arcadian trying to wrap back around, but they've got no cooldowns left to play with. Turret's going to fall. Haunter tries something to play and misses onto the Rex side, but still an impromptu siege gives TSM a turret and a kill.
Oh, chain CC right onto Froggen. You land the Cinder Stun, you hit him with the Ash Arrow. You never get the chance to counter it with the Chrono Break on the Echo, and that's exactly how you want to push with the Rift Herald. You place it down, the other team groups up to defend it, but the stun right there from Bjergsen never letting him become unstunned. He's not frogging there, he's just stunned,
Yep.
and then he dies.
Well, TSM making the best of a pretty short timing window. There was 15 seconds left before that Rift Herald was going to expire. So came together at the right moment. TSM with a turret advantage and the gold lead to picking up that extra kill onto Froggen. See if Echo Fox can right the ship and try and get a turret of their own. Or if TSM can actually now, with the map a little more open, press down, try and take this last outer turret here in the bottom lane, and then really start playing that mid game.
Yeah, and now it's about whether or not Looper can exert some of his will in this game. Black Cleaver Renekton at level 11 is really, really strong. I mean, Doublelift is actually being quite greedy at this lane right here. Yes, he has both summoner spells up, but he doesn't have anyone behind him, so he's betting that Looper doesn't know he's alone, because if he is alone, Looper is slicing dice through those minions and all ins.
Doublelift again, just keeping them shoved through. TSM playing to that bottom side with a Drake up in 50 seconds. Not a bad side of the map to be setting up on. Also with these TPs. In fact, all 3 teleports are up at this juncture. And looks like Bjergsen's actually going to swap his way back down to the less safe lane and give the easier farm to Doublelift, with Biofrost kind of helping out as well.
Yeah, moving the Syndra over to the side lanes when he's down summoners isn't necessarily the safest play, but currently everyone on Echo Fox is in a recall pattern and TSM has control over the Drake area, so it's pretty much just about shoving up as many waves as possible. And now we're in that teamwork phase, so the counter picks don't have the same level of effectiveness, and it's more about how does your team composition work. TSM very experienced playing around these specific champions, so I think that does give them an edge moving into this stage in the game, but we got to see if Froggen or Looper can flank around and make some big plays.
Yep, certainly a lot of play for TSM here with an open map, plus Ashe ult up. Well, Froggen actually is challenging that Syndra. Looks like they might be collapsing for a fight. Arrow is going to miss, I believe. Was looking for Keith, but didn't find it. Now Keith's going to get drummed down by Haunter. Does flash out of the way, but a great ultimate's going to secure the kill. Keith blew everything so early.
Yeah, he just was totally outnumbered on that side. Echo Fox was funneling down with 3 people in the jungle and 2 people in the mid lane, and TSM has made a call to one side.
Kick. There's another great one from Fence Garen. Straight into the arms of Haunter for the extra CC.
Looks like it's falling apart for Echo Fox right now. TSM using those playmaking abilities right there. Gragas, Lee Sin, Syndra, Ashe. Even if they're not landing all their skill shots, Echo Fox is not together, and TSM's getting the kill.
And again, reaping all those benefits from getting this vision down on the right-hand side. TSM with a very good play around the map.
Syndra, Ashe. Even if they're not landing all their skill shots, Echo Fox is not together, and TSM's getting the kill.
Yeah, bottom lane actually going to turn the play up to Lupa. That's Syndra going to get the stun in. Biofrost now going to start tagging him up. Lupa burns the ultimate.
Even if they're not landing all their skill shots, Echo Fox is not together, and TSM's getting the kill.
Yeah, bottom lane actually
going to turn the play up to Lupa. Trying to speed up the run to the mountain break. Got to go for Lupa. And even if they're not landing all their skill shots, Echo Fox is not together, and TSM's getting the kill.
Yeah, bottom lane actually
going to turn the play up to Lupa. Trying to speed up the run to the mountain break. Got to go for Lupa. And even if they're not landing all their skill shots, Echo Fox is not together, and TSM's getting the kill.
Yeah, bottom lane actually going to turn the play up to Lupa.
Trying to speed up the run to the mountain break. Got to go for Lupa. And even if they're not landing all their skill shots, Echo Fox is not together, and TSM's getting the kill.
Yeah, bottom lane actually going to turn the play up to Lupa.
Trying to speed up the run to the mountain break. Got to go for Lupa. And even if they're not landing all their skill shots, Echo Fox is not together, and TSM's getting the kill. Yeah, bottom lane actually going to turn the play up to Lupa. Trying to speed up the run to the mountain break. Got to go for Lupa. And even if they're not landing all their skill shots, Echo Fox is not together, and TSM's getting the kill. Yeah, bottom lane actually going to turn the play up to Lupa. Trying to speed up the run to the mountain break. Got to go for Lupa. Upgraded sweepers on Biofrost and Svenskeren, as well as a number of control wards to get rid of that vision and take control of this area.
Yep, 2,000 gold up for TSM as we approach the 20-minute mark in this game. Baron will be up soon. And again, TSM just kind of play it standard. Haunts up back to the bottom side. Rest of TSM playing to that Baron side of the map with the Drake down. And it's just systematic and very well disciplined right now for TSM as Froggen might have caught Sven here. Sun's going to land. Krog's going to go over to Froggen.
Hey!
Gets the stun and takes the farm. All calculated.
We did it. Get some more. Oh, he's going to get those 2.
All right, Svenskeren decides to take that last little one as he'll finish off the camp. Direct's going to go ahead and get the top side pushing out. Froggen needs help to not get picked off again.
There's one thing Froggen's perfected, it's CSing.
Especially jungle creep. With this turret also under fire. Fox is not in the right position to try and capitalize. Long flank TP in though. Oh, Gate look for the play, knocks it off, but a good devour there from Biofrost. He's going to keep double if safe. The turret still falls though.
TSM didn't see Reaction TP in, but they see him now. Let's see if Haunter now channels his teleport right away.
There's Haunter. Bjergsen though off to the side flankers. Looper runs through the team. He gets exhausted. Double is still outputting damages. Gate puts away the play. Point blank arrow stuns up. Gate Haunter with a double belly bump to stun up to Arcadian. Still trying to fight, but he goes down on the other side. Double kill for Sven Skaren. TSM wipe the floor with Echo Fox.
And you could see it was just not a clean collapse by Echo Fox. They took so much damage while Looper was running up, and then they don't even get that big of a jump. It's actually Haunter, who essentially could be called late on the TB since CSM didn't see the first one, has a way bigger impact on that team fight. And they turn straight for Baron. Mountain Drake makes it easier. They're taking full control of this game.
Baron is gone under 21.5 minutes. So watch this play again. Echo Fox starting to feel a little more desperate with this play.
Yeah, I mean, you can see how low they are by the time Gate goes for the re-engage. Triple stun by Haunter on the body slam flash. Arcadian can't quite solo out Bjergsen on the backside, even with his challenging smite, but also because of his sight stone. Imagine he has a more damaging build, Bjergsen actually dies. Even then, they'll still end up losing that fight.
Well, TSM now with the Baron looking to try and take down that last little outer turret, sticking out in the bottom lane. And Echo Fox will likely lose significantly more structures as the rest of this play develops. Pretty much the full duration of the buff really to get these sieges going with, and we are going to start in this bottom side. No one here, I think smartly from Echo Fox to challenge at least this turret here in the bottom lane.
Yeah, they have just fallen way behind, and this is kind of what our concern was for Echo Fox in the draft. They have been a team that has been able to accrue some large early game advantages, but have struggled in the team play aspect. And then in the draft phase, they don't actually draft for a team comp. They draft for almost exclusively counter picks, but they are not pulling off plays as a team, whereas it felt like TSM was pretty much saying, we know how to play Gragas, Syndra, Lee Sin, even Ashe from Doublelift. He's been really good with his arrows lately. And the early game was even because TSM relied on their laning ability, and since then, they have been the one making plays because they're very experienced with this style.
Well, Hodge's Iceborne Gauntlet is going to force Frog into a flash, burns the ultimate to get him out of there, but will take the summoner spell from the Echo Fox mid laner. And now this inhibitor turret getting sieged up in mid, probably going to have to run very far back. Home guarding in from base, but the turret already dead. TSM with a little too much strength here.
Yeah, Froggen potentially hoping for a TP, but even if they teleported in here, they're down so much. Baron's still running on TSM, so they're very strong right now.
And I have to say, after watching this game from TSM in the series versus FlyQuest yesterday, the different speeds this team is willing to play it is maybe more impressive than the amount of comps they've tried to play this summer. When FlyQuest is running straight at them, playing super fast tempo league, they're happy to play at that same pace. And now in a more measured game versus Echo Fox, confident in their ability to transition as a team into the mid game, and have done so here as well.
Yeah, very slow start to the split for TSM, but this week, at least early on in the first 3 games now, they're looking much improved. The series they had against FlyQuest, probably the cleanest they have looked as a team. And then even in this game, even if they had a more subdued early game, really feels like they're turning it on at the right moment. So things are looking up a little bit for TSM.
Certainly looking better, but still this game to go. Getting further out of reach for Echo Fox, but certainly not out. Froggen still trying to make the plays, but Haunter is just a menace right now. Froggen, yeah, doesn't even want to take the rest of that 1v1.
Yeah, the classic armor item plus Visage power spike for any tank top laner. Still going to be one of their strongest points in the game, because in none of the common mid lane or bot lane builds do you have resistance shredders like a Void Staff or a Last Whisper at this point. So it just means that you're not shredding through any of those tank stats, and Haunter can pretty much go where he pleases for the next 10 or 20 minutes.
Yep, just hanging out in top lane right now. TP almost back up as TSM will start this Infernal Drake. Didn't get too much else after that one in here, but still enough damage done for TSM with that Baron buff, and to kind of maneuver them into this late game, it almost feels like the game is saying, hey, you know what, you guys are doing well. Looks like you might want to end the game in the next 10 minutes. Here's an Infernal Drake to make the fights a little bit easier. Things just breaking TSM's way time and time again.
Yep, Baron buff is down, so it will be tricky. Or Baron buff is down in about 10 seconds, as it looked like it was still up.
Spans over for that tricky jungler one. Gate getting chunked, yep, has to get out of the way. Doublelift though, just standing and killing that turret as Echo Fox just don't feel like they can challenge. Doublelift wasn't even really kiting, but Echo Fox no better than to try and challenge, and this inhibitor might just go away with no contest. Echo Fox just gonna let it fall.
Yeah, I mean, Gate would also just have to make some miracle initiation happen for this one, and then they don't even have a super great combo to throw in there like an Orianna to try and turn these fights. So it looks like Echo Fox is just kind of unsure of how to proceed right now, and TSM's taking full advantage.
And it is tough. They're 9,000 gold behind, so it's not like they're playing an even game where they have to find the perfect angle. Even if they find the great initiation, maybe too far behind to really claw back into the game. And TSM just systematically destroying this last inhibitor turret. Double Lift already on it. Does take turret aggro though.
Triple stun. Yeah. Oh, not even a Baron buff, but they're trying to go for something.
Yeah, Haunter trying to play. Looks like he does get the knockup. He's tanking the turret at this point. His Gate is going to land the knockup. Looper with the chance stun. Haunter walking out of there. There's the ultimate committed. Froggen gets out with his own Chrono Breaker. There's Acadian stunned in the top side. Big Feather Storm in. Might be enough to save the game. The knockup is there. Acadian does get the kill onto Haunter, but Spen low in the front line as the stuns just keep coming. TSM too far ahead. Too tanky in the front line. Although Echo Fox keep living.
Yeah, they definitely lost this fight. They could get aced if Flipper cleans them up here.
But with the wraparound, Bjergsen is the target, does scatter the weak away, but he's going down. Carries now dead for TSM, and TSM just have to recover. Froggen is going to TP back in to try and clean up the
home guards.
Kills. Just Bio and Spen left, but keep wandering out of the way. Looper, no minions to really go to. TSM going to start to split up as Froggen should be able to chase this down. Blastcone could save him. Bifrost trying to book it. Spen's already out. There's Bifrost with the ultimate of Froggen. Can't interrupt it.
Cheeky escape by the last few members of TSM, but actually a good turnaround fight there by Echo Fox. We talked about ways that they could combo with Rakan's initiation, and they pulled it off there. Most of the credit for this fight, I think, goes to Keith and Gate for making initiation. Yes, Keith gets bounced around a fair bit by Haunter at the start, but does not suffer a death. Then, watching this dive, they're getting a lot of this large stunts off. Nope. Acadian gets in for the triple knockup, trying to find the Feather Storm. Yeah, pretty much just Keith right there, as well as they're getting this quickness coming through from Gate. That's the majority of the damage. It takes down Double Lift and Haunter's Gragas, and then Bjergsen out of mana since they've had this extended siege, still having the double TP as well. So this is where Echo Fox tries to come in for the big play. Looper ults just for the extra damage, does end up all-inning for Bjergsen. Potentially could have gotten someone else and left Bjergsen for the rest of his team, so they miss out on maybe some potential kills.
Well, Echo Fox at least happy to get some gold back in their pockets, cutting down TSM's lead pretty substantially. Also got a top outer turret during that replay, so extra gold also going over. Still 8 turrets to 2, so not great as far as total deficits go, but making up in the right places here for Echo Fox. If they can find that angle again, they will push them even closer to even.
Coming straight back to the scene of the crime, though. Trying to fight one more time. Double TPs are down, and TSM is trying to get this turret. But Echo Fox will want to initiate. There's the quickness.
Gate again needs to devour. Does get Double Lift out of the way. But Looper looking for another big flank. Still kiting it out. Looper into the backline. Does get knocked up. He needs to get blown up, but Looper still living through the onside. Even lives through Syndra. Gets another Feather Storm. The pull Spen scaring back, but Double Lift takes down the Rek'Sai, and Echo Fox now on the run. Froggen might make a big play with the ultimate, but they have to keep running forward. Gate battle dances out the Keith, then to Froggen to make sure he gets out of the way. 5v4 feels rough. Echo Fox only losing their front line, but that was enough.
Yeah, where was that arrow going from Double Lift? You could see he had an idea for it, but he shoots it low. You can see the Renekton and Rek'Sai is just not the power of frontline that they need to shred through this, as TSM has multiple disengage options. They're actually shooting straight for Baron, knowing Acadian is dead. Doesn't matter if it's on a ward for them right now.
Yep. The rest of TSM will be there shortly, and Echo Fox are trying to get there in time. Transcaren's going to see that ward. Control ward down in the pit to cut up all the vision, and now Haunter just going to play goalie.
Got to be a little bit careful here, actually. Bjergsen doing a good job zoning them. They get Froggen's ultimate. It's over.
All right, well, Froggen out. Baron goes over, and Acadian respawns just in time to see it go down. Watch this exchange again.
Yeah, so you can see Gate goes in, but Biofrost, good spacing right there so they don't get caught in the quickness, allows them to devour. Looper actually manages to get kicked in, which is I think where he wanted the kick. Svenskeren knew he wanted to try and disengage with that, but even so, they still get blown away by Bjergsen and Double Lift damage from the backside.
Again, just TSM a little too far ahead at this stage. TSM going to look to actually just shove down the rest of the base with 3 inhibitors down, Super's pushing it in every single wave, and the Baron up for pretty much 3 minutes. This is going to be a tough siege for Echo Fox to get through, and I think they're going to have to fight their way out.
Yeah, they're pushing straight up the mid lane with 3 waves of supers. be tough.
All right, one and hit back as Double Lift scooped up by Biafrost once more. TSM are going to make sure they take down that last in hit, get all the super spawning again. Ooh, a stun actually into Gators. Tries to give initiation on the Bjergsen. Charm lands in onto Sven. Sven going to try and get zoned as Lupin looks for the backline, but Double is just outputting damage again. Rek'Sai dives into the front, but gets exhausted. Froggen still trying to take down Bjergsen, but he's going to have to ulti out with Syndra, unleashing the power. Now the Nexus turret's going down. 2 dead already for Echofox on the right-hand side of the play, and that's going to make it 3. The Nexus now exposed. TSM just too far ahead. They're going to take game 1 over Echofox. Another
Great Lee Sin performance by Svenskeren as well. 5 games in a row on Lee Sin and 5 wins, moving his season score on that champion to 9-1. Kept them in the early game, helped make the plays in the mid and late game. It's kind of been the story of Echofox this season as well, doing decent to good and early, and then just not being able to transition that in any way, shape, or form.
Yeah, just really tough there. I mean, it just felt like TSM kind of found their foothold in the game, made that really nice Rift Herald play in the mid-game with barely any time left to summon the monster, and then from there just kind of broke open. So we actually are going to break the game down here. We can start by looking at the team comp. We set up for TSM, very standard stuff. Don't really need to review that. For Echofox, I like some elements of this draft, but like you said, maybe focus too much on the lanes and not enough in building a cohesive strategy.
Yeah, and it's tricky, right? When TSM comes at you with their power picks, you want to be able to have answers to that, and they do individually know how to play all of these champion matchups. I thought Froggen did fine into the Syndra. You're actually not supposed to win that early as the Echo. You're just supposed to have threat later and prevent the Syndra from taking over the game. Froggen did that. I'd say Looper's Renekton had the lower impact when he's early picked with the Rek'Sai, and I think that's where it really kind of ends up falling apart. The Rek'Sai, Renekton need to be able to take over this game early if Echofox is going to find a victory, and they were not able to do that.
Certainly not, and as a result, we kind of get replays that look like this. 18 minutes in, TSM just doing everything they know how to do.
Yeah, and this is the moment of the game where Echofox falls apart and TSM uses their playmaking. Hauntzer roams down as the Drake is being set up for. They just use a bunch of stuff on Keith, wait for a CC to land, and that gets the kill, and immediately they've had a 4v5. But Echofox doesn't actually want to give away anything. They're running the risk of losing the mid turret as well as the Drake, and Gate gets caught in between the two, but doesn't have the rest of his team with them. I mean, look at where the Echo and the Renekton are on the minimap. They're nowhere to be found, so they end up losing all of it. 2 deaths, the mid-tier turret, as well as the Mountain Drake after this. So this was just TSM knowing when to make a play. This is pretty much the first action we saw from them in most of the game was around 20 minutes.
And again, you can see Goldgraf just shooting up over time once kind of that mid-game was over. Sure, a dip here and there where TSM did make a few mistakes, and Echofox capitalized well by making some nice plays, but there's one of those things where you're far enough ahead that you can afford to make a mistake or two. TSM only made a couple, and that was not enough to keep Echofox in the game.
Yeah, and you can see the overall damage dealt to champions in this game is actually not very high. Froggen sitting at about 500 damage per minute, Bjergsen closer to 650, but everyone else pretty low, and it's because TSM did make their fights count. They got a kill or two and then would very quickly focus on the objectives, which is the way they do want to play.
Yeah, I mean, even in that replay we just saw, all of that was set up by great vision, knowing what side of the map to set up on, and then very simply using their pick tools to execute, get those picks, and then able to transition easily. So that is something that TSM are very good at doing on a multitude of champions. I guess my obvious question is, do you just take these comfort picks away? Because sure, they're going to do them with almost any comp, but maybe make it a little more difficult.
Yeah, exactly, and it is tricky right now because you look at the things they banned away, and it could have potentially been worse. They got rid of Caitlyn, they got rid of Zac, right? I forget exactly what their last ban was, but they were very strong power picks.
Definitely
and
don't
which
give
is
them
another one which you don't want to give them. I mean, maybe you do because they're not as practiced with that, but from an overall aspect, I don't think there's necessarily a flaw in their ban strategy. They just need to have a more cohesive team comp for Echofox.
Well, we're going to step away for a quick break, but when we come back, it's Game 2 between TSM and Echofox. Stay with us. You're watching a North American LCS. Considering a bunch of different champions, but Thresh will actually be the first overall pick for TSM this draft.
Yeah, tired of getting that thing banned away in the second phase. May as well just lock it down right now. TSM also maybe not going with the same tier of power picks since they can technically get a counter pick wherever they want it. Maybe just lock down the marksman position right here. It depends if TSM wants to commit before knowing where the support is.
Well, see if they go... Yeah, they actually will go with Ashe, so double if. This is something that definitely is a thing with double if I've noticed. I don't know exactly how many conclusions I can draw, but he does love to play a pretty narrow pool of champions and kind of stick to what he knows.
It really is a thing with double if where he will absolutely master a champion and get so comfortable on it. It is both a benefit of Doublelift that he gets so good at these particular champions, but also to his detriment, because sometimes when the meta shifts, he'll be so good at the old champion, he will convince himself and everyone around him that it's still good because he's finding success on it. Whereas if he would just pick up a different champion, get the same level mastery on that, it would be even better. It just doesn't do that, though. So some of the small things about having small champion pools when you're a really good player.
Well, Ash, once again for Doublelift as a result. There's Rek'Sai and Talia, though, on the other side for Echo Fox. So an early mid lane pick once again. TSM, I think it's a lot of pretty tough decisions here. If they want Galio, do they take it? They probably have to take it now. Looks like they might want Gragas, which can flex to the top and jungle, but that does leave mid lane bans now open for Echo Fox to make here. So have a lot of fun stuff going on with these first 6 picks.
Yeah, getting the Gragas here does give them the flexibility to put it in the jungle or the top lane, but as you say, Echo Fox should just throw bans at the mid lane here. Whatever they don't want to see Bjergsen going up with, the Syndra should be taken off, and probably the Cassiopeia would be the 2 bans I would predict from Echo Fox, but we'll have to wait and see.
Well, there's Braum ban for TSM. There's Syndra going to join the list, kind of another one you don't want to give over. TSM now considering their next ban. Do they keep banning supports? I mean, again, Gate has a pretty large pool, but if they just take the good laning supports away, might help them get through what is otherwise a tough matchup. Caitlyn does bully almost every bot laner.
Yeah, and I think with the Braum ban, they're just trying to get rid of things that will make it harder to kill the Caitlyn later. Braum, a spectacular defender in the late game, so that, and then also getting rid of a top lane carry option for Luka.
And Fiora taken away. Again, Galio lingers in the back of my mind, but we'll see if Echo Fox want to keep picking on mid lanes here. Nero looking pretty serious. Does take that Cassio you expected.
Yeah, just getting rid of the things that will be hard for Echo Fox to reach, because looking at their team right now, Caitlyn, Talia, Rek'Sai. Rek'Sai can dive, but by no means is he going to solo someone without a great dive buddy. So really just making sure that the high backline threat things for Bjergsen are taken out of there. There's still a few left, but TSM probably waiting until the very last pick for it.
All right, so going to actually take Renekton here and give Bjergsen the counter pick. Again, Galio was the thing I thought they might take, but wanting to retain a little more pressure for Bjergsen.
Huh. They could still go Galio.
Yes, they could. I mean, it would be quite fun.
And go huge tanks without necessarily a great way in.